Hi foodies, how you doing today? As many of you know, I already have a Jamaican fried dumpling video already on my channel. That one is for deep frying though. And sometimes I get messages on Instagram, you guys are saying, I really want to make fried dumpling this morning, but I don't have enough oil. So with this recipe, we're going to be using the same dough. All we're going to be doing is decreasing the oil. We're shallow frying the dumplings. So less oil, same dough, beautiful dumplings just the same. Let's get into it. So of course we're starting off with flour. I have it in a sieve here because we're going to be sifting these to get the lumps out, but also to get some air in this, just like I mentioned in my other fried dumpling video. We're going to be adding some baking powder to puff these up nicely, and we'll be adding salt, of course, and some sugar. Now as far as the sugar, we have some Jamaican fried dumpling purists out there that say no, don't put sugar, but guess what? Your kitchen, your rules. Okay, so leave it out or add it. And then we're going to be sifting this together. Of course, traditionally some of these steps aren't taken, but this is how I like to do my fried dumplings. A little extra work for that extra reward of a nice, fluffy, flaky fried dumpling. Okay, so sift these together and then we're gonna whisk them. If you don't have a whisk, use a spoon or a fork. The important thing is that you're distributing everything. You don't want half of the dough to be salty and the other half not salty, right? So mix everything together. Now I have some cold butter cut into tiny pieces. This is gonna give flavor to the dumpling, and it's also gonna help it to get those nice flakes, you know, that little flaky texture on the outside. You don't have to do this. This is my way, all right? So what we're gonna do is you're gonna be squeezing the flour and the butter together, lifting it, so you're raising it and just rub it between your fingers. That's what you're doing. So you grab it, lift and rub. So this is kind of like if you're making short crust pastry and you're rubbing the butter into the flour. This is just gonna add flavor. It's gonna tenderize the dough. It's gonna give us those tiny little flakes in it. So the dumpling is going to be light and on the outside is going to be flaky. As I said, your kitchen, your rules. This is how I like to do it. All right. So once the butter is rubbed into that flour, then we're going to be adding some cold water, guys. We're going to just make a well in the center and pour that cold water in there a little at a time. And just mix with your hand or mix with a spoon. Okay, whatever you're comfortable with. Just add a little water at a time. We're using cold water because we don't want the butter to melt immediately. All right, and there's other benefits to it. So just add cold water, keep mixing, and just keep mixing the same way you would for any other dough. And then you're gonna end up with a soft dough. Now I just want to let you guys know the dough is gonna be soft and a little bit sticky. It's not supposed to be wet, but it's not supposed to be super tight or dense. All right, as if you're making like a boiled dumpling. Okay, because that is why sometimes you have fried dumpling and it is so tough because of the over mixing and the too much flour. Okay, so it's gonna be soft. And it doesn't have to be in a perfect smooth ball. Okay, if yours is perfect, awesome. All right, so you just want it to come together in a ball as best as you can. Okay, and then we're gonna let it rest. We are going to cover it with a damp cloth. Reason for this is the damp cloth will prevent it from drying out, and we're resting it just to let it relax so that it will be much softer when we are ready to roll it. Okay, so I like to rest it at room temperature for at least an hour. Try not to rest it somewhere that's hot because you don't want the butter to just melt super fast. And then We'll check it out after an hour, and it is so much softer, easier to work with, and this is just gonna help to make that dumpling so smooth and nice. So just roll it into a long shape if you want to, or you could just pinch pieces from it in order to roll it into the balls, okay? So once we cut it into pieces, then it's time to roll. So what we're going to do is grab a piece, and what you're doing is basically folding it into itself, just like with my other video with the deep fried method. All you're doing is folding it into itself. There are many ways of rolling a fried dumpling. This is one of the easiest ways I find when you're trying to show somebody who's never made this before. Fold it into itself, or you can pinch it like this, but the objective is just to get it nice and round as possible. Okay, there are many ways to do this. There's also this way. You can roll it like this on whatever surface and just keep rolling it until it gets nice and smooth and round. Okay. Once we've rolled everything, I want you to just press the dumpling in the center. Just give it a squeeze, right? This is just gonna help the oil to penetrate it even quicker. So it also helps to seal off the edge, that underside that was folded in and pinched in. It helps to seal it as well. So do that. And then we're going to be frying in a non-stick pan today. You can use a cast iron pan, whatever pan you're using. Just make sure it's shallow frying you're doing. And we want this over a low to medium heat. Okay, so tiny bubbles. We don't want it to be too hot. All right, because what happens if it's too hot? Outside is going to cook too fast. All right, so low to medium heat. And then we're going to cook them on each side. About 5 minutes per side is good, but just keep an eye on it. If they are very tiny, maybe you can get away with less than about 5 minutes per side. But what you're doing is just keeping your eye on it. You want it to be golden brown, and you can always flip it back over if you feel like it's too pale. This is easy to handle. Okay, so we'll fry on both sides. So 5 minutes on one side, then flip it over, 5 minutes on the other side, and then you'll get these beautiful puffy soft dumplings. So aside from doing those two sides, you can also turn the dumpling on its side to make sure that everything is nice and crispy. So some people will actually flip it over on the sides like this and just lean them up on each other. All right, they might fall down, but you can just lean them up on each other like this and fry that side, and then spin it around, fry the other side. Okay, there are so many tricks to just making sure that it is evenly cooked. Some people even cover it to allow some steam to get in there because they want to make sure the dumpling is cooked in the center. Okay, so you can try a few of those methods and see what works best for you. Just make sure the heat is not too high, or else you're going to end up with a nice golden brown dumpling on the outside and then inside is going to be raw. So don't rush it. With deep frying, you can just put it in the oil and, wait for that set time to be done. But with shallow frying, you have to pay attention to it. So that's it, guys. Beautiful fried dumpling, Jamaican style. Of course, these are so soft and puffy. These are like, this is like the underside where we folded the dumpling into itself, and then right here you'll see the top, so it's a little smoother. But guys, these are so delicious and they are soft. I'll open one up for you guys. So with these dumplings, the outside is flaky and then the inside is soft and puffy. Really, really nice, guys. So if you don't want to deep fry your dumplings, you can always try shallow frying the dumplings and it'll still be delicious. Guys, let me know in the comment section which method you prefer. Do you like to deep fry them or do you prefer to shallow fry? Either way, they are delicious, but I do prefer deep frying because I don't have to pay so much attention to it. I just know how much time it takes. I just put them in there and check after a certain time. So I do prefer that method, but both are great. I had these dumplings with some steamed callaloo and they were so good. Let me know what you think once you try this method, and I'll see you guys next time.